We are now going to see the development of heart in the coming series of videos. So this is what is the gross representation of the heart. You all know by now that it is made of 4 chambers, the right and left atrium and right and left ventricle, and they have these outflow tracts and inflow tracts. So all these things have developed from a very simple heart tube, and that is formed from the blood islands in the mesoderm. So how these atria and the ventricles are formed from that single heart tube, and how the heart is being divided into 4 chambers, that is how the septation of the heart has occurred. And you can see there is crossing over of these 2 vessels. So how the pulmonary trunk and the aorta have spiraled over one another, all these features will be dealt in with the subsequent development of the heart and its inflow and outflow tracts. And this is how, with all these series of developments, the simple tube has now become a most important rhythmic pumping and beating organ in the body, which decides one's viability. So let us just get into the topic. So before we really go into the topic, we need to know the timeline, how it is formed. So this vascular system development starts sometime around as early as 16th day onwards, and the development of the heart totally is completed by about end of the 9th week approximately. So this development of the heart involves mainly the formation of the blood vasculature, which is called as vasculogenesis, followed by the angiogenesis, wherein the heart tubes are formed, and by ongoing folding of the embryo, the craniocaudal as well as the lateral foldings, there is shifting of the heart tube and the 2 endocardial tubes being joined to form a single heart tube. And this single heart tube is pushed into a cavity which is called as pericardial cavity, and the growing heart tube to fit into the pericardial cavity will be undergoing bending, looping and twisting so that it fits into the pericardial cavity to form the near normal anatomical position to fit into the pericardial cavity. And from about 5th week to 8th week between, there is formation of these various chambers of the heart, and they are separated by the septations, how they are formed, and there is this formation of the aortopulmonary septum, which is spiral in nature, and that is what is destined to form the outflow tracts of the heart. So after the formation of all this septation and all, there is a proper fully developed heart which functions involuntarily 24/7 and is the essence of life, wherein the heart starts its beating by about 22nd day, and the blood starts its circulation by 24th day itself. So here the circulation of the blood is the prime requirement too for the further development of the heart, providing the nutrition to the developing organ. So we are going to see the development of heart in these following parts, where we'll first see how the cardiogenic field is being formed, where the heart tubes are developed and how they fuse to form a single primary heart tube, and how the dilatations have formed in the primary heart tube and how the other dilated portions are connected to one another, and how the cardiac loop is being formed and why is it formed, and the differentiation of dilatations of the cardiac loop and how they are placed in the relation to others, and the development of various chambers of the heart and how they are separated to form a four-chambered heart, that is the septation of the heart. So as early as beginning of third week, approximately around the 16th day, the vascularization, that is the vasculogenesis followed by angiogenesis, happens in the extra-embryonic mesoderm, in the yolk sac and the connecting stalk, followed by the vasculogenesis and the angiogenesis within the intra-embryonic mesoderm, connecting the vessels of extra-embryonic mesoderm to the intra-embryonic mesoderm. That's how the circulation starts. So these definitive hemopoietic cells, which are formed in the splanchnopluric mesoderm, they are formed around the aorta near the mesonephric ridge, which is called as AGM region, that is aorta gonad mesonephros region. So after the formation of these blood islands and the establishment of this basic extra-embryonic, intra-embryonic circulation, and as the heart is now going to develop into a functioning organ, then the colonization of cells are seen in the liver, because there is a bypass of the circulation in the fetus, in the developing fetus, from the placenta and to the heart, because the purification is being done in the placenta during the development. And then the cells colonize, that is the vasculogenesis, next to happen in spleen, thymus, and later on to the bone marrow, which take up the main function of the red blood cell production as well. So this is how the blood vascularization starts in a flat embryonic disc as early as the 16th day. So to know about the vasculogenesis and angiogenesis, which we have already done in the general embryology of cardiovascular system. So this vascularization, which is the vasculogenesis, where these mesenchymal cells in the splanchnopluric layer of the intraembryonic mesoderm or the extraembryonic mesoderm, they get stimulated and are transformed into hemangioblasts by VEGF factor, that is vasculoendothelial growth factor. And these hemangioblasts, which have formed from the stem cells or the mesenchymal cells, aggregate to colonize to form a blood island. Within the blood island, the peripheral cells get modified to form endothelium by endothelial precursor cells formation. And the cells which are in the core of the blood island will get transformed into blood cells. That's how a basic simple vessel is being formed, where the endothelial precursor cells, which are the peripheral cells of the blood island, will be destined to form the endothelium of the vessels, and the cells which are in the core of the blood island will be forming into blood cells, wherein there are few clefts that are going to appear in the core of this blood island, and the process happens. So this is vasculogenesis. And if there is proliferation of this simple blood vessel that is being formed into many number of blood vessels branching out from the vessel, it is termed as angiogenesis. So this angiogenesis is nothing but the